Hi book friends, Michelle here, and today I'm doing a Tag Tuesday video. It's been a minute and I have been tagged in several. I have a backlog to get through, but this tag was recently created by Suey over at Suey's Book Banter. She has recently celebrated her 3-year anniversary on BookTube, so she created this original unique tag and it just looked like so much fun. I thought, I'm gonna jump in and do this one. So without further ado, this is the Rule of Thirds tag. Like I said, created by Suey, and here we go. She has grouped these prompts into groups of 3. So I'll start off with number 1. What are your 3 favorite genres? I try and read as widely as possible. I have FOMO when it comes to books. I don't want to miss out anything, but if I had to narrow it down to my 3 favorite, the 3 favorite types of books that I read the most, it would have to be literary fiction, of course. If that's a genre, I'm not sure, but that. I love historical fiction, and I'm going to go with thrillers. I love a good suspense thriller with a fantastic villain and plot twists. So yeah, those would have to be my top 3. Number 2. Who are your 3 auto-buy authors? I mean, I'm trying not to buy books right now, but there are 3 that came to mind immediately for this one. First of which being Ian Reid. His first book I read was called I'm Thinking of Ending Things. It was adapted to a Netflix television series, I believe. I've also read Foe, and I've read his most recent release, We Spread. All his books are infused with a level of tension, foreboding, foreshadowing, and as you're reading, it's kind of like a slow burn that is definitely building towards something. You just have this feeling of mounting dread as you're reading the story, and it just builds throughout the book. He is a fantastic storyteller. Really well-developed characters in unusual settings that you don't read about very often. This one takes place in a senior living complex, a assisted living for seniors kind of a place. And yeah, he's one of the most unique voices writing right now, and I can't wait to read his next book. So yeah, Ian Reid is one of them. Another one of my auto-buy authors who I absolutely love is Otessa Moshfegh. Again, this is the first book of hers I've read, called My Year of Rest and Relaxation. I've read 4 of her novels, I believe. I've read almost everything she's written. I think there's the short story collection I haven't written, and then there's one other one I haven't read yet. But yeah, I've read Eileen, really enjoyed that one. Death in Her Hands, which I loved, and Lapona, one of my favorite books of all time. And then this one, which I also loved. She just knocks it out of the park for me every time. And she introduced me to first-person narration that I did not find dull. I was never a fan of the first-person perspective. I always kind of found those stories tended to drag. But her characters are so different and unique and kind of wild, a little bit out there, that they just draw you into the story. And yeah, again, she's got such a unique style of storytelling. I just absolutely love everything she does. She can do no wrong for me. I will absolutely buy everything she writes and can't wait again for another book from her. Thirdly, I have Emily St. John Mandel. Again, a very unique writing style, and her stories are fantastical and kind of speculative sci-fi. Pardon me. I can't classify them as science fiction exactly, but there are elements of that to her books. Station 11, The Glass Hotel, and Sea of Tranquility, which is her most recent release. They're all kind of interconnected, but not really. You do not have to read them in order. I would encourage you to pick this one up. This is the first one of hers I read, and I loved it. And yeah, fantastic. Fantastic. I have nothing bad to say about her. 5 out of 5 stars to all her books that I've read, and I can't wait to see what she comes out with next. I hope I don't have to wait too long. All right. The next prompt is, these all have to do with BookTube. Or no, sorry. The next prompt is, what 3 books do you recommend the most? So, I mean, I have a lot of books that I recommend to people, but 3 of the ones I recommend the most, being that they are, I think they all have universal appeal to any reading taste, and they're not super niche. They all have themes that are really relatable to most people, and really engrossing stories that I think a lot of people would enjoy. The first of those being Ragged Company by Richard Wagamese. I did do a dedicated video, in-depth review of this book, goes into more detail, but just to give you an idea, this book is set in Canada. He is one of our greatest authors of all time, but anyway, he sadly did pass away in 2016, I believe, or 2017, sorry. This is my favorite novel of his. We follow a group of Indigenous Canadian unhoused people who are struggling with addiction issues and some mental health issues. We follow them on the streets of Toronto as they're just trying to live and survive. One day, they happen across an unclaimed lottery ticket worth $13.5 million. However, they encounter difficulty in claiming it because they have no fixed address. They find help in the form of a disgruntled journalist named Granite who agrees to help them sort things out. He's got connections. He knows who to talk to arrange for these people to claim the money. And this is a story that has so much heart, such interesting people in it. It's so gripping from beginning to end. Beautifully written. I recommend this to almost anybody. And yeah, it is a story about family, found family, addiction, how money changes you. It's about love and healing and redemption. It's about everything. So I think this book would appeal to a lot of people. Therefore, it's one of the ones I recommend the most. Another one I recommend to a very wide swath of readers is a very popular, well-known book that is, I think it won the Pulitzer Prize, and that is The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt. Again, one of my favorite books of all time. Just a fantastic story with fantastic characters, different perspectives. We have different settings. There's a lot of kind of international intrigue and travel involved in this story. And yeah, we're following our main protagonist named Theo Decker, who suffers a tragedy at a young age, and that affects him for the rest of his life. We follow him, his coming of age story, as well as, but it is a coming of age story, but it's so much more than that. I don't want to say too much about it, but this is one that I recommend to as many people who will listen to me talk about it. And lastly, one of my most recommended books is one of my favorite books that I read recently, and that is Snow Road Station by Elizabeth Hay. In this book, it's set in the 2008 financial crisis years there, 2008 and onward kind of thing. We meet a character named Lulu. She is an actress who is in her late 60s, and she's starting to have problems with her memory. One day, she really humiliates herself. She's in a play in front of a live audience, and she forgets her lines. So she's not really happy, and she retreats to her hometown of Snow Road Station, Ontario. It's a little map dot of a place. And she kind of decides that she's done with life. Like, she's really not in a good place. She's on the struggle bus, and we follow what happens to her when she goes home, reconnects with some people from her past, her best friend. It's a story about female friendship and romantic relationships, and yeah, fantastic. Elizabeth Hay is one of my favorite writers of all time, and this book is just a great introduction to her writing if you've never read from her before. It's a short little slip of a book. And again, I think if you just want to get lost in a fantastic story, curl up with a book, this is the one that would appeal to a lot of people. So I do talk about it a lot. All right, now we're into the prompts that have to do about booktubing. Number 4 rather. What is your favorite book from each year for the past 3 years? I have read a lot of fantastic books over the past 3 years, but I'd have to say 3 of my favorites have been Greenwood by Michael Christie. This takes place in the future. We're in 3 different time zones: the future, the 1970s, and the 1930s or 40s, following different generations of the Greenwood family. And yeah, again, a fascinating book. I absolutely love this book. 5 out of 5 stars. I love how, I don't know if you can see it, but this is made to look like these sprayed edges that look like the inside of a tree. Anyway, I'll just give you a little bit of the synopsis here. It's 2038, and Jacinda Greenwood is a storyteller and an overqualified tour guide babysitting ultra-rich eco-tourists in one of the world's last remaining forests. It's 2008, and Liam Greenwood is a carpenter sprawled on his back after a workplace fall and facing the possibility of his own death. In 1974, Willow Greenwood is just out of jail for one of her environmental protests, attempts at atonement for the sins of her father's once vast and rapacious timber empire. Then we go all the way back to 1934 and Everett Greenwood. He's a Depression-era drifter who saves an abandoned infant, only to find himself tangled up in a web of crime, secrets, and betrayal that will cling to his family for decades. So we're following all these different timelines, this interconnected family history. It's fascinating. I'd urge you to pick it up. I love this book. One of my favorites of the last 3 years, for sure. Another one that I absolutely loved, Sirius Blooms at Night by Shani Mutu. There's a murder mystery at the heart of this story. We're following an elderly protagonist named Maya as she is moving into this assisted living place. Her nurse, Tyler, who is really the only person that she will communicate with, as she doesn't speak, she's mute. The trauma of the events of her past have led her to not speak to anyone except for her nurse, Tyler. She tells him her life story, and he is recounting the story of her and her family and the murder that took place and whether or not she is actually responsible for this. This book had such a profound effect on me. By the end, I found myself tearing up. I'm not a crier. I don't get emotional with books, but this one just got me. I don't know if it was just the day or the time, but yeah, this is intense. It's fantastic. Another thing I love it when books have little details like illustrations inside that have something to do with the characters. Like this one happens to feature little insects to denote the beginnings of chapters. Anyway, it's beautiful. Sirius Blooms at Night by Shani Mutu. The other favorite book of mine was Paul Harding and This Other Eden. I think this is nominated for some kind of big highfalutin book prize or something, but I love the writing in here. I love the story. We're following these people who, and it's based on true events, but in 1792, the formerly enslaved aspiring orchardist Benjamin Honey and his Irish wife Patience arrive on an island where they can make a life together. More than a century later, the Honey's descendants remain along with an eccentrically diverse band of neighbors. A pair of sisters raising 3 Penobscot orphans, Theophilus and Candace Lark and their nocturnal brood, and the prophetic Zachary Hand-to-God Proverbs, who is a Civil War veteran that lives in a hollow tree. So, fantastic characters, fantastic story. It's a tiny book. Well, yeah, it's around 200 pages or so, but yeah, I love this one. All right, next prompt. What are 3 things you've learned from booktubing? The three things I've learned are that trying to put out 2 or 3 videos a week just does not work for me. Another thing I've learned, the second thing would be that I don't enjoy when BookTube affects my reading too much. So rather than trying to pre-plan videos, I try to take inspiration for making videos from what I'm reading, the books I'm reading, rather than have the videos influence what books I choose to read, if that makes any sense. And then the third thing would be that no matter what you do, whether you make really high quality, edited, funny videos, no matter what style of video you make, or very simplistic, type of style of videos, you're going to find your people. People will connect with you no matter the kind of type of video you make. I think what's the most important thing is authenticity and just talking about what you know and what you genuinely enjoy. So that's what I try to do. And yeah. All right, next prompt. What are 3 goals you have for the next year on BookTube? Well, let's see. I'm not much of a goal setter. I think that if I did have to say 3 goals, I would choose to, first of all, continue with BookTube because I'm really enjoying it. Continue reading as much as I can. And thirdly, I would say to maybe continue and make more of an effort to go outside of my comfort zone as far as technology or trying different things. Yeah, that would be definitely a goal, to learn more. I always love to learn new things, so yeah. All right. The next prompt here. These are just random questions just for fun that Suey came up with. So what are 3 fictional worlds you'd like to visit? Well, most of the fictional worlds aren't places I'd like to go at all because a lot of strange and wild and crazy things are happening, or a lot of what I read is actually set in the real world. So, I mean, there are places I'd like to go, like travel-wise, like, Spain, Portugal, that type of thing. But yeah, as far as fictional worlds, I can't really think of 3 that I'd like to visit. I enjoy reading about them, but I would not want to go there. All right. What are 3 ships you'll always root for? I mean, I'm not a big romance reader, but I'm going to take this that it doesn't necessarily have to pertain to romantic relationships. So the relationships I root for are the ones that are highly dysfunctional, because those are the ones I love to read about. The reason why is because, you learn a lot about human nature by reading about what other people are going through, how they work through and resolve their issues. I love the healing that takes place. I love the resolution of problems. I love the coming back together of people who have been estranged from each other. I'll always root for people to, grow and do what's best for them in a book, in their relationships. I love reading about a parent-child relationship. I don't have any children, but I know what it's like to be a child of somebody, so I can still relate, and I find them really compelling, really dramatic. The dynamics in a family, especially if it's, 2 family members, brother and sister, mother and father, or mother-daughter, father-son, that kind of thing. I really enjoy those. And then the third ship I will always root for is a friendship. I don't find a lot of books focus on platonic friendships. Like, a lot of them sometimes start off that way and then go to romance, which makes it pretty predictable and not that interesting to me to read about. I just like reading about relationships that are, the nuance involved in friendships, and what it takes to have a friend, or when it's time to abandon a friendship, those types of things. So I do enjoy reading about friendships as well. Great question, Suey, by the way. I'm really enjoying thinking about these things. It's kind of, these do all make you think. So yeah. All right. Name 3 books with a number in the title. Being that it's spooky season, Halloween is around the corner here. It's Halloween week. I don't get scared with books very often. I rarely encounter a book that gives me the creeps or interferes with my ability to sleep or anything like that. But one book that I could not put down, and it had me, shook, as they say, is 12 Nights at Rotter House by J.W. Oker. This one came out a number of years ago, and it really had me going. Like, I was freaked out. This guy in this book goes to stay overnight. I think there's money involved. Yeah, he's a writer who specializes in creepy destinations. For his next book, he's chosen to seal himself inside a notorious abandoned haunted... I can't talk. He's decided to go seal himself inside of a notorious abandoned haunted house for 2 weeks just to see what happens. So right there, I mean, how creepy can you get? His oldest friend joins him, although the two haven't spoken in a year, and the baggage they bring along is more than the kind needed for a project. The house he chooses for his book and his reunion with his friend is Rotterdam Mansion, known infamously as Rotter House. The 19th century home was built by a one-armed carpenter and has sheltered as many deaths as it has rooms, and it's packed with ghost stories, legends, and lore. Yet all the ghost stories are unimaginative, normal, paranormal, the same stories that every haunted house has, both in fiction and real life. But when Felix and Thomas get there, they're obsessive horror movie fans who don't find typical tropes they know so well. The horror and the mystery they find in Rotter House is different, strange. By the end, the two discover what's worse, the secrets of Rotter House or the secrets between friends. So yeah, this has everything I like. It's got the friendship, the creepy house, the creepy old mansion. It's strange, and I mean, it's somewhat predictable, but not really. Like, I kind of had an inkling what was going to happen, but I didn't want to believe it. So it's one of those. 12 Nights at Rotter House. It's a great selection if you really kind of want to have the creep factor going there for a Halloween read. Another book with a number in the title that I loved. In fact, this book won the Giller Prize here in Canada a number of years ago, I believe. Let me just see when it came out because I'm curious. Bear with me here. This one came out in... 2012. So it's been a minute, but this book has stayed with me and I love it. It's called 419 by Will Ferguson. I'll just read you a little bit of the synopsis here. A car tumbles through darkness down a snowy ravine. A woman without a name walks out of a dust storm in sub-Saharan Africa. And in the seething heat of Lagos City, a criminal cartel scours the internet looking for victims. Lives intersect, worlds collide, and it all begins with a single email that says, "Dear Sir, I am the daughter of a Nigerian diplomat and I need your help." Will Ferguson takes readers deep into the labyrinth of lies that is 419, the world's most insidious internet scam. I don't know how relevant this is today, if it's still, obviously there are still scams out there, more evolved and more, complicated or serious scams out there than ever. But yeah, this book was fascinating. I loved it. 419 by Will Ferguson. The next book with numbers in the title is my next planned buddy read with Isabel at Isabel Reads and Dwayne from the Reading Room. And the book is 11/22/63 by Stephen King. I've been wanting to get to this one for years. I mean, I've had it on my shelf for a while. I did start to read it at one point and then I set it aside, got distracted by other books. So I can't wait to dive into this coming here in November. It's our buddy read, and it's the only book I'm committed to for the month. Hopefully I can get through it. I mean, I'm not the fastest reader. I'm not the slowest. I'm somewhere in the middle, so I can't wait. I've heard nothing but good things about this book. And the bonus question that Suey came up with here: what book are you excited to read this next year? So this coming year, a recent release that came out by one of my favorite authors, Ian McEwan, is called What We Can Know. All I've heard about it, it sounds fantastic. I really want to read that one. I also want to read a book called Buckeye by Patrick Ryan. Looking forward to that book as well. And yeah, those are two that just came to me off the top of my head. There's a ton more. Can't wait to see what comes out next year. And that's all I have for now. Thanks again, Suey, for creating this tag. It was super fun to do this one. And I encourage anyone who wants to participate, please go ahead and do so. I will put all the prompts in the description for you, and let me know what you're reading. Thanks for watching. Talk to you in the next video. Bye.